Hi everyone, how's it going? I thought I'd give you a little look around the plot the last day of November to see how it's going. Beautiful day actually, it's really mild, t-shirt weather look. So yeah, I thought I'd just come up here today because I had a load of leaves for the compost and everything. So I've just topped up this main compost bin here. I did actually cut some of the long grass around the pathways here. Not too short, quite long. Just to get a bit more nitrogen in there before the end of, the start of winter. So the temperature on these, this one's at 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty good. I just keep on adding more and more materials to keep the overall mass of it, you know, decent size. It just keeps shrinking down. I mean, every week, next week that'll be down to here somewhere, I should imagine. And it's just because I've got a few bricks on here to help weigh it down. And I put a load of water on them dry leaves to keep it moist really, so the bacteria can get to work on it. So I did actually turn a bit of this one into there a couple of weeks ago. I didn't manage to film it because the weather was a bit crappy, a bit wet, and this camera's not waterproof. But I managed to turn some of that into there, and then all my fresh stuff I've been bringing, I've been putting onto that one. Actually, I think I did put a bit more in this one as well the other day. The leaf mould here, I've been topping this one up as well every time I come up here. So if this one drops down first, this is one I've been topping up first because I want as much leaf mould as possible for next year, and an extra carbon source if needed. So the compost's all looking pretty good. This one's actually about, is that 43 degrees Fahrenheit, Celsius, sorry. I don't know if you can see that, I'll spin you around. But yeah, so leaf mould doesn't really matter. It's quite a slow process. Doesn't really need to get hot, but if it does, then it will help it decompose a bit quicker. So what have I got going on in my beds then this year? So this one here, which had my brassicas in, I've still got one kohlrabi in here now, which has been eaten by everything, but I'm just leaving it in there. You never know, it might go to seed next year, or it might get eaten, or I don't know, it might rot away over in the winter months. But this was a mixture in here. It's got some pea, foraging pea or something like that, vetch, rye. I've got some broad beans, which because the green manures was a bit sporadic in germination, any sort of bigger gaps I popped in a broad bean. So they're dotted around all over the plot. Got hollyhock there in a pot, which is pretty good, and a little snapdragon there. So eventually I'll take them out and transfer them over to my garden. So this bed's all got green manures in, which is keeping the soil busy, feeding carbon into the soil, and with the vetch, the peas and the beans, they'll be feeding nitrogen as well. So this is going to be dug in. Although I'm no dig, there's vole tunnels and everything under here. So I'm going to dig all this one in rather than smothering it. So that's what I've got going on this first bed nearest to the compost. This is my onion bed. In fact, I'll come around this way because you can probably see the holes of the... yeah, if I get close here, if I point down, you can possibly see the little hole just sort of there, which isn't too bad actually. You haven't made a big tunnel, disturbed anything else. So there's a little molehill just sort of there, if you can see it. Sorry, it's a bit crappy through the netting. And then there's another tunnel just down there at the end of my finger. So I've not made too much damage in here, and if I just leave it like that, that'll be okay. I'm not too bothered about the little voles or anything on the plot, but I can't see no sign of the onions coming through yet. So hopefully we haven't rotted away or anything. I've got a bit of comfrey in the path here, which is going to be impossible to get out, so I've just left it. And it's kind of in the middle of my plot, so when it's in full flower, it does attract all the pollinators into the plot. And because it's in the middle, it's good. So this is all Phycelia in this bed here. And once again, there's a few broad beans which are dotted around in here. Just in the like little gaps where nothing much germinated, mainly around the edges really. But Phycelia, I'll have to if the frost doesn't kill it, I'll terminate it by chopping it down if I can. I mean, a lot of it's laid down already, and some of it has been hit by the frosts already. So what I'll probably do is just put more compost on this. I mean, there's already about 2 or 3 inches of compost on here. That's my normal soil colour there. A little stone, take that stone out. And this is obviously the compost there. So there's loads on here because I put about a foot worth, well, a foot deep worth of compost in here for the no-dig potatoes last year. So I don't need to add any more, but I might do, because this is probably where I'm going to do the potatoes again for next year. Because I've got some half decent results really. We have some quite nice big sized potatoes in there. So in this bed here, I've got some brassicas, mainly, well actually, sorry, it's all broccoli in here. I did trim them all back the other week and take a good harvest off them. They haven't seemed to have regenerated much in that time. There's a couple of little spears here and there, nothing major, but they're not dying back or anything. That's good, because frost hasn't really affected them. So that's one good way of keeping the soil busy over winter, is by having winter vegging. So this bed here, this has got 2 broccolis in, which has been left open to all the elements and pigeons, etc. So it wasn't looking too bad the other week. I've managed to get a little bit of a harvest off it. Just a little bit there actually. But these 2 are going to be for pigeons for over winter. And just basically, yeah, keeping the soil busy, like I say, fixing exudates and carbon back into the soil. But the rest of the bed, I have topped it up with compost. I mean, it's quite twiggy and stuff, but that's all right. I'm just going to rake all that out in the spring. I may even top it up again in the spring before I plant stuff in it. I haven't decided yet. It depends how much compost I've got, because if I'm going to beat Robert in the single seed potato competition next year, I need all the homemade compost I can get. So these nasturtiums on here, as you can see, they've been completely battered by the frost. But I'm not actually going to tidy them up. I'm just going to leave them like this and let them rot down on the surface. I've got some more broad beans dotted around as well. And I did actually put a few green manures in here as well, other than these beans, like a little bit of rye and vetch and stuff, and a little bit of pea. There's a couple under there, but not a lot of the rest of it's germinated, unfortunately. But this bed has so much manure and compost on it last year when I planted the garlic, but I haven't actually topped this one up again. But as you can see here, this is where the normal colour of the soil is, and the rest of it is all compost and bits of biochar. There's quite a big bit of biochar there, but being on the top here like that, the frost will get in it, which it looks like it already has, and it'll just crumble up quite easily. He says that one took a bit. That one's a bit harder. But biochar is really good for soil. It'll hold on to all the nutrients and slowly release it over years, lasting the soil for over 1,000 years. That's how is it the Incas in the Amazon? They have that black soil called terra preta, and the soil just gets better and better. So this is a bed with phycelia and some broad beans. And this is where I've grown my broad beans from last year, and this is a self-set one, so that's going to do really well, I should imagine. You can see the size of it already compared to the other little seedlings. But this hasn't had no compost on this side, this has just had green manures. And I'm probably just going to smother these and possibly leave, well, I'm definitely going to leave some of the broad beans in to grow as full mature plants. I'm not sure which ones yet, but no doubt I'll make my mind up as I go in the spring. So this half of the bed has had a load of fresh compost on it, and that's what I did the other week when I was emptying out the compost bin, but the weather wasn't very good. But I did manage to get it down before we had that snow, so it kind of insulated the soil. Yeah, that's one good tip actually. Don't put your compost down after a frost. Wait for it to be a bit warmer, because if you put it down on top of a frost, you can lock the cold in. So that's a good tip actually. Put it down when the soil is nice and warm, not preferably on a day like today after it's been raining yesterday and it's nice and sunny today. So I've got some more broad beans and phycelia There's a bit of clover and stuff in here. Then there's some leeks going through the middle there. Little calendula flower still out down there. So most of my beds really have got something growing in them. Even if it is just like a green manure, but that's going to help improve the soil for next year. There's another little hole here, look. But they're not causing too much damage really. The things that are causing the most damage are cats and stuff. The cats keep pooing and digging a little hole and dumping it on my other bits of garlic. But I'm a little bit worried about my other garlic again. So this one's come up okay. I can't remember if it's a soft or a hard neck, but I presume it'd be the soft neck because that came up no problem last year. The hard neck didn't come up until the spring, and then by the time it was growing and everything, well, by the time harvest came, basically it was small and it all had onion white rot. So I was a bit gutted. I'm hoping it's going to come up soon. Give me some sort of hope. So yeah, the garlic in there is doing okay. Strawberry bed, I'm actually going to leave it till the spring. I think all the extra leaves and everything are going to help protect them from the frost and the cold weather over winter. And I'm going to get in here quite early, say February, March time, just when the soil's warmed up a bit, thin them all out. I mean, I've got quite a few strawberries in the pathways and stuff, which obviously are all kind of young plants. So I'm going to take out all of those out of there. Definitely put these, what were in the pathway, I'm definitely going to plant them in there because they're about a year. I think some of these are 2 years old now. So I've got quite a few new plants here, just so I don't get muddled up because a lot of these in here are old. I can take all the bigger ones out and leave all the little ones. But also I want to give it a real good top up of compost as well at some point. So that's one thing I've got to do. But that's not going, like I say, till February, something like that, when it warms up a little bit. Worm farm in here. Put some leaves in there to help the worms, and there's a, I don't know if you can see, it's quite glary today with the sun. I don't know if I've got this on the wrong setting or something on my camera. But yeah, there's plenty of worm castings in here. And I'll just put some leaves on there just to insulate it, let the worms have something to eat. I could probably put a handful of bloodfish and bone or something in there just to give the worms a little bit of grit to munch down on. So I've got these containers here, which were for my single seed potato. There's 3 in total. I've topped them up with leaves, just to give them a little bit of soil protection, and hopefully there'll be some worms in there that will help take the leaves down as they rot away. But one thing what I'm going to do is I've got this Jade Arm water barrel here, which last thing I put in it was grass clippings at the start of this season. And then obviously last year there's a load of comfrey and bindweed roots and all sorts. And you'd think, oh god, that stinks. But it actually smells quite nice. It's been in there for like over a year. When it smells, basically it's anaerobic. But when it's like this, it's not too bad. It's not anaerobic, and it's better for your plants this way. If you can give it to your plants when it's anaerobic, but you don't want to get it on the foliage or anything. Just get it on the soil. But with this stuff, it doesn't really matter if you splash it on the plants. I'll probably be doing a little experiment. I'll probably be splashing a load of plants with this next year and just seeing what happens. But this is going to be another way. I'll probably come up here every week, every couple of weeks, every month, something like that. Well, if it's not frozen, that is, and just pour a bit of that on each one of those, just so that Robert isn't king next year for the SSPC. I'm only joking. Only putting your leg, Robert. But yeah, it would be nice to win it. So yeah, that will help rot down the leaves and help give the soil some extra nutrition, keep the fungi, not the fungi, the bacteria happy in there. That'll do for now. Normally I have my Wormtropolis worm farm going over winter, but for the last couple of years it has been, well, it's been mild overall, but it's been a real couple of real cold spells just for a few days. I didn't want to harm the worms by popping them in there. I mean, most of my worms are in my compost or in my soil or whatever. But I'm going to top this up again. Be just stuff from there really, from my compost. Just pop it in here. I'll bait some extra worms out and make sure it's got extra worms in, just so I can get some decent worm castings by the end of the summer. So in here, when I said I took out that compost from there, I also filled up this Dalek full of compost. It's probably not quite 100% ready to be used for potting on plants or anything like that. But if I leave this in here all winter, by the spring, you know, sort of February, March time, something like that, it might be ready to mix with some worm castings down here. And this Dalek here is full of last year's leaf mould. So I collected a load of leaves just like that. So I'm just going to wipe this camera because I don't know if it's got a thing on. I don't know if it's a bit blurry. I don't know if that made any difference or not. Probably not. But leaf mould in here, this is pretty much going to be ready to use. I'll have to sieve out some of the bigger leaves and stuff. But there's a nice little millipede there. You see it? See if I can pick it up. It's curled up into a little ball thing. But yeah, that's going to be awesome to mix in with homemade potting mix with worm castings and homemade compost. It's going to be some good stuff. Also, I've got some leachate out of here, and there's nothing in here really at the moment, but that's just stuff what's come from the bottom. So that'll be quite good to lob in with the single seed potato container over there. I am going to pull some carrots soon. Actually, these little wire frames, before I forget actually, they fall like a long cloche, but one of the cloches was a bit rubbish. So because I've got a bit of carrot root fly on here last year, so this year, what I'll be doing next year is putting these little hoops over like that, and then popping a little bit of fabric with some Enviromesh over it to stop the carrot root fly. It's not so bad. If you haven't got a windy site, it won't be so bad because carrot root fly can't fly that high up. But because it's a very exposed windy site here, carrot root fly can get in. But I need a couple of carrots for dinner. So, oh, that's not very good. That might be a Chantilly, red cord Chantilly or whatever mixed in. But I think most of these were Autumn King, and I sowed them in a spiral shape so that they weren't too crowded together. I didn't need to thin them out. That looks a big one there. Let's get that. I'm hoping for another big giant one, but no, not too bad. So there's a little bit of root fly damage. So I don't know what's wrong with this. It looks a little bit blurry on the. Yeah, it's got a bit of damage on there. I don't know if this camera's steaming up or something. It doesn't look quite right on the screen to me. But yeah, that'll do for dinner anyway. Just going to do some shepherd's pie. I'm not going to cut the raspberries down until January or February as well. I've got a bit of comfrey in there actually, what Mike sent me from Sow Grow Eat. Yeah, so I've just been looking at the camera lens and it has got a bit of fog over on the inside of the lens, which I'm a bit gutted. I haven't taken this out in the rain or anything, but so yeah, so sorry about the footage today, guys. It's a bit crappy. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to try and, I don't know, put the camera near a heater or something and try and dry it out. But I don't know why it's it's like that. I hope I haven't broken it. Anyway, I'll spin you around. Yeah, so I'll probably have to end this video, won't I? What a disaster. I did chop down the asparagus the other day and put a load of compost on there. Looks like there's been some sort of cat or something walking along there, but at least it hasn't pooped in it, not what I can see. The flower bed is a complete mess. I'm going to have to put those hollyhock canes in the compost actually before I forget. But yeah, there's a lot of grass and stuff growing in there, which is a bit of a shame. We need to get that out before next year. And I haven't cut these back again actually this year. I didn't get a massive harvest off them, like the fruit bushes, the gooseberries and the red currants. So I'm going to leave them this year and I'll trim them back next year, I think. Hopefully try and get something sorted out with this shed this winter, if I can get a bit of energy. I've got to do my back garden first. But yeah, try and find the time and hopefully the weather will be good. Right, so yeah, thanks for joining me today on this little tour of the allotment. Sorry my camera's all steamed up. I don't know what I've done with that to bugger it up, but hopefully I haven't broken it. The internals aren't all messed up. But yeah, have a good weekend. Thanks a lot, and hope everyone else is getting all the allotments all sorted, all leaves and compost and stuff, all green manures. Leave in the comments what you're up to. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe, give us a thumbs up or thumbs down. Thank you, goodbye. And once again, sorry about the camera.